Glass doesn't scream when it breaks. But the chandelier did. Metal groaned first, low, guttural, wrong, then crystal exploded into the air like 1,000 knives released from heaven. The sound sliced through champagne laughter and string quartet melodies, turning the charity gala into a panic in 3 seconds flat. Rowan Hale didn't scream. He saw the boy first. Small body, red curls, frozen directly beneath the falling death. Rowan's legs moved before his brain could catch up. His swollen belly twisted as he lunged forward, arms stretching wide, body curling over the child like a human shield. His knees slammed into marble. Pain shot through his thighs. He didn't care. "Get down," someone roared from across the room. The boy's scream cut off the moment Rowan's chest pressed against his head. Small hands fisted into Rowan's torn volunteer shirt. The child's heart hammered against Rowan's ribs like a trapped bird. Then the glass came. It rained in glittering shards, sharp, merciless, indiscriminate. Rowan felt the first cut slice across his shoulder blade, then his forearm, then the back of his neck. Heat bloomed where skin split open. His body jerked with each impact, but he didn't move, couldn't move. The boy beneath him was breathing. That was all that mattered. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Rowan's vision blurred. His stomach cramped sharp and deep, a warning his body couldn't afford to give. Blood dripped from his elbow onto the white marble floor, pooling in the grout lines like spilled wine. Somewhere beyond the ringing in his ears, Rowan heard boots pounding closer, heavy, fast, desperate. A voice tore through the chaos, raw, jagged, barely human. Luca. The name didn't register. Rowan's hands shook as he pressed them over the boy's ears, muffling the screams, the shattering, the wrongness of everything. His lips moved without sound. They always did. No words had left his throat in years. But his body spoke for him. "You're safe, I've got you, you're safe." The boy sobbed into Rowan's chest, fingers digging bruises into his sides. Rowan's breath hitched. Another cramp rolled through his abdomen, sharper this time, meaner. His vision swam. The edges of the ballroom went soft and dark, like someone was pulling a curtain closed from the outside in. He blinked hard. Boots stopped inches from his face. Black leather, expensive, covered in dust and glass. Rowan looked up. The man standing over him wasn't shouting anymore. He was shaking. Tall, broad-shouldered, ink crawling up his neck from beneath a tailored suit. His face was all hard angles and sharper rage, but his eyes, dark, wild, too wide, were locked on the boy beneath Rowan. Not on Rowan. On the child. The man dropped to his knees so fast it looked like his legs gave out. His hands hovered over back, trembling like he didn't know whether to grab him or pray. The man whispered, his voice cracked, "Answer me." The boy shifted under Rowan's weight, tilting his head just enough to see. Dad whimpered, "He saved me." The man's gaze snapped to Rowan. And for the first time in 3 years, someone looked at Rowan like he mattered. The man's eyes traveled down torn volunteer shirt, blood-streaked arms, the unmistakable curve of Rowan's belly pressing against shoulder. Pregnant. Bleeding. Silent. The man's jaw locked, his pupils dilated. Something flickered across his face that Rowan didn't have a name for. Fear. Not of Rowan. For him. "Don't move," the man ordered, but his voice was softer now, careful, like Rowan was made of the same glass scattered around them. Rowan tried to push himself up, his arms buckled, pain tore through his abdomen again, deeper, sharper, wronger. He gasped without sound. The man caught him before he hit the floor. Strong hands, steady, too gentle for someone who looked like he could break necks with his thumbs. "Someone get a medic," the man roared over his shoulder, his eyes never left Rowan's face. Now. Rowan's head lolled against the man's shoulder, his vision flickered, the ballroom spun. He felt the boy's hand grabbing his. Felt the man's heartbeat pounding through his suit jacket. Felt something warm and wet sliding down his inner thigh. No. Not now. Rowan's fingers moved on instinct, signing into the air with what little strength he had left. "Baby." The man's face went white. "Stay with me," he said, voice cracking again. "You hear me, stay the hell with me." Rowan's eyes rolled back. The last thing he saw before the darkness swallowed him whole was the boy's tear-streaked face and the man's lips forming words Rowan couldn't hear anymore. But he felt them, in the way the man's grip tightened, in the way his body curled around Rowan like he was the one who needed protecting now. And somewhere in the haze, Rowan realized something that shouldn't have been possible. This man knew his name. Would you throw yourself in front of danger to save a stranger's child, even if it cost you everything? Rowan Hale learned how to disappear when he was 7. Not physically, emotionally. The group home taught him that crying made you a target, that being an omega made you prey, that having no voice meant no one listened anyway. So Rowan stopped trying. He learned to fold himself into corners, to eat fast and leave faster, to avoid eye contact with alphas who smiled too long, to work 2 jobs by 16 because foster care didn't pay for college and neither did hope. The diner paid $4 an hour plus tips. The hospital paid $6.50 for overnight janitorial shifts. Rowan survived on 3 hours of sleep and vending machine dinners. He survived. That was the point. And then happened. Walked into the diner on a Tuesday, clean-cut, warm smile, human, not an alpha, not a threat. Or so Rowan thought. Left a $20 tip on a $6 meal, came back the next day, and the next. Started learning Rowan's schedule, started learning his signs. Started making Rowan believe someone could want him without taking from him. It took 3 months for Rowan to trust him. 6 months to love him. 9 months to move into an apartment and believe the word could mean something other than survival. And 1 pregnancy test to learn the truth. Didn't yell when Rowan showed him the positive test. He went quiet. That was worse. You can't keep it, said. Rowan's hands moved fast. Why not? Because I didn't sign up for this. You said you loved me. I said a lot of things. Rowan's hands froze mid-sign. Stood up from the couch, ran a hand through his hair, looked at Rowan like he was a problem that needed solving. You're not keeping it, said again, slower this time like Rowan was stupid, and you're not staying here. Rowan's chest tightened. Grabbed Rowan's jacket off the hook by the door, threw it at him. Get out. Rowan's hand shook as he signed, please. No one's going to believe you, said. His voice was calm, cold, practiced. You think anyone going to take the word of a mute omega over mine? Rowan stood there, jacket in his hands, stomach twisting. Open the door. You've got 5 minutes. Rowan didn't take 5 minutes. He took 30 seconds to grab his backpack. And then he walked into the night with nothing but $12, a bus pass, and the life growing inside him. He never looked back. Not because he was strong. Because he didn't have a choice. And that was 3 years ago. 3 years of sleeping in his car. 3 years of hiding his belly under oversized hoodies. 3 years of working volunteer shifts at hospital fundraisers because they fed you and sometimes gave you a $20 Visa gift card. 3 years of telling himself he didn't need anyone. That he and the baby would be fine. That didn't get to define him. But on the night the chandelier fell, Rowan wasn't thinking about. He wasn't thinking about survival. He was thinking about the boy with red curls who looked too small to be standing alone. And he moved. Because some instincts run deeper than fear. Have you ever been betrayed by the one person you thought would protect you? Cassian hated charity galas. Hated the fake smiles, the performative generosity, the way people donated money just to be seen donating money. He didn't need to be there. He didn't want to be there. But he'd asked. And Cassian didn't know how to say no to his son. Was 8, red-haired, too curious for his own good, the only soft spot Cassian had in a life built on hard edges and calculated violence. Mother died in childbirth. Cassian raised him alone. And every decision Cassian made, every deal, every threat, every body that disappeared in the river, was to make sure Luca never had to live the way Cassian did. So when Luca begged to see the fancy ballroom and the big chandelier, Cassian said yes. He regretted it the second the metal groaned. Cassian's head snapped up, his instincts kicked in faster than thought. He scanned the room, exits, threats, Luca. Luca was 20 feet away. Alone. Beneath the chandelier. Cassian ran. His guards moved too slow, the crowd scattered too fast, glass exploded before Cassian could close the distance. And then he saw him. A stranger. Thin, pregnant, moving faster than anyone else in the room. The stranger threw himself over Luca, without hesitation. Cassian's heart stopped. Not because Luca was in danger. Because someone else had reached him first. Cassian's boots pounded marble, his vision tunneled. He couldn't breathe until he reached them, until he saw Luca's face, saw him breathing, saw the stranger's body curled around him like a shield. Blood dripped from the stranger's arms. His back was shredded. His stomach pressed against Luca's shoulder, round, unmistakable, vulnerable. Cassian dropped to his knees. Luca, he breathed, his hands shook, he never shook. Luca, answer me. Luca's head turned, tears streaked his face. Dad, he whispered, he saved me. Cassian's gaze locked on the stranger. The stranger looked up. Blue eyes, pale face, lips moving without sound. Cassian's chest tightened. The stranger was mute. And bleeding. And terrified. But he didn't let go of Luca. Cassian's jaw locked, his pulse roared in his ears. He scanned the stranger's body, cuts, bruises, the curve of his belly. Pregnant. Alone. Protecting Cassian's son like it was the only thing that mattered. Don't move, Cassian said, his voice came out softer than he meant it to. The stranger tried to push himself up. His arms gave out. Cassian caught him before he hit the ground. The stranger's body was too light, too fragile, his skin too cold. Someone get a medic, Cassian roared. He cradled the stranger against his chest, feeling the rapid flutter of his heartbeat. Now. The stranger's eyes rolled back. His hands moved weakly, signing something Cassian didn't understand. But he saw the panic in the stranger's face. Saw the wetness spreading across the stranger's jeans. Blood. Or worse. Stay with me, Cassian ordered, his voice cracked. You hear me, stay the hell with me. The stranger's eyes closed. Luca grabbed the stranger's hand, sobbing. Cassian's guards surrounded them, barking orders, securing the scene. But Cassian didn't hear them. He was too focused on the stranger's face. On the way his lips moved one last time before he went limp. Cassian didn't know sign language. But he knew desperation when he saw it. And he knew, without question, without logic, that this stranger had just changed everything. What would you do if a stranger saved your child's life, and then collapsed in your arms? The medics arrived in 90 seconds. Too slow. Cassian held the stranger against his chest, feeling the too-weak rise and fall of his breathing. The stranger's skin was clammy, his pulse too fast. Sir, we need to. Careful, Cassian snapped before the medic could finish. His arms tightened instinctively. He's pregnant. The medic's eyes widened. She nodded, adjusting her approach. Luca refused to let go of the stranger's hand. Dad, is he going to be okay? Luca's voice cracked. Cassian didn't answer. He didn't lie to his son. The medics worked fast, checking vitals, applying pressure to the worst cuts, securing an oxygen mask over the stranger's face. We need to transport now, the lead medic said. She glanced at Cassian. Is he family? Yes, Cassian lied without hesitation. The medic didn't question it. They loaded the stranger onto a stretcher. Luca climbed in beside him, still holding his hand. Cassian followed, his guards flanking the ambulance as it tore through the city streets. Inside, the stranger's eyes fluttered open once. Just once. He looked at Luca first, then at Cassian. His lips moved. Thank you. Cassian's throat tightened. He nodded. The stranger's eyes closed again. The hospital was chaos. Doctors swarmed the moment they arrived. Cassian's name carried weight, too much weight, and within minutes the stranger was in a private room with the best trauma surgeon on staff. Cassian stood outside the door, fists clenched, jaw tight. Luca sat in a chair beside him, knees pulled to his chest. What's his name? Luca asked quietly. Cassian didn't know. He pulled out his phone, made 2 calls. The first was to his head of security. Find out everything about the Omega they just brought in. I want his name, his background, where he lives, who he knows, everything. The second was to his lawyer. Get guardianship papers ready, temporary, in case he can't make decisions for himself. He hung up. Luca looked up at him. You're going to help him? Cassian crouched down to meet his son's eyes. He saved your life, Cassian said quietly. That means he's ours now. Luca nodded. They waited. 2 hours later, the surgeon emerged. He's stable, she said. The baby's okay. He's got lacerations, bruising, and mild shock, but nothing life-threatening. Cassian exhaled. Can I see him? Luca asked. The surgeon hesitated, then nodded. He's unconscious, but yes. Luca stood up and walked into the room. Cassian followed. The stranger looked smaller in the hospital bed. IV lines snaked from his arms. Bandages covered his shoulders and neck. His belly rose and fell beneath the thin blanket. Luca climbed onto the chair beside the bed and took the stranger's hand again. Thank you, Luca whispered. Cassian stood at the foot of the bed, arms crossed, jaw tight. His phone buzzed. A text from his security chief. Name Rowan Hale, age 24, Omega, no family, works volunteer shifts, lives in his car, no permanent address. Cassian's grip tightened on his phone. Another text came through. Pregnant, due in 6 weeks, no prenatal care, no insurance. Cassian's jaw clenched. One more text. Father of the baby, Silas Crow. Cassian's vision went red. He knew that name. He knew it well. Silas Crow ran a mid-level investment firm, clean reputation, charity donor, respected businessman. Cassian had done business with him once. And now Cassian was going to destroy him. What would you do if you discovered the man who abandoned the person who saved your child was someone you knew? Rowan met Silas Crow on a Tuesday. The diner was slow, the lunch rush had passed. Rowan wiped down tables, moving methodically, keeping his head down. Silas sat in the corner booth. Alone. He ordered coffee, black, left a 20 on the table. Rowan stared at the bill. His shift tips usually added up to $12 on a good day. Silas smiled when Rowan picked it up. Keep it, Silas said. Rowan's hands moved instinctively, too much. Silas leaned back, you sign. Rowan nodded. My sister's deaf, Silas said, I know a little. Rowan's chest tightened, no one ever knew sign language. Silas came back the next day. And the day after that. He learned Rowan's name, learned his schedule, learned how to make him laugh without sound. 3 months in, Silas asked Rowan to dinner. Rowan almost said no. But Silas was patient, kind, human. Not an alpha. Safe. Or so Rowan thought. 6 months later, Rowan moved into Silas' apartment. It was small but clean, warm, quiet. For the first time in his life, Rowan stopped running. He let himself believe in the word asterisk home. Let himself believe Silas meant it when he said asterisk I love you. Let himself believe he deserved something other than survival. And then Rowan missed his heat. He took the test in the bathroom while Silas was at work, stared at the 2 lines, hands shaking. Rowan wasn't scared. He was hopeful. He thought Silas would be too. When Silas came home, Rowan was sitting on the couch. The test was on the coffee table. Silas saw it immediately. He froze. What is that? Silas asked slowly. Rowan's hands moved. I'm pregnant. Silas didn't move, didn't smile, didn't reach for Rowan. How long have you known? 2 hours. Silas ran a hand through his hair, paced to the window, stared out at the street. You can't keep it, he said. Rowan's hand stilled. What? You heard me. Why? Silas turned, his face was calm, too calm. Because I didn't sign up for this, Rowan. You said you loved me. I said a lot of things. Rowan stood, his legs felt weak, his chest tight. We can figure this out. There's nothing to figure out, Silas crossed his arms. You're not keeping it and you're not staying here. Rowan's hand shook as he signed, you're serious. Dead serious. I have nowhere to go. Not my problem. Silas walked to the door. Grabbed Rowan's jacket off the hook, threw it at him. You've got 5 minutes. Rowan caught the jacket, stared at Silas, waited for the punchline, the apology, the moment Silas would take it back. It didn't come. 4 minutes, Silas said. Rowan's vision blurred, his hands moved fast, desperate. Please, I'll do anything. You want to do something? Silas stepped closer. His voice dropped. cold, cruel, disappear, and if you even think about coming back or telling anyone I'm the father, I'll make sure no one believes you. You're a mute omega with no family and no proof. I'm a respected businessman. Who do you think they'll side with? Rowan's hands fell to his sides. Silas opened the door. 3 minutes. Rowan grabbed his backpack, stuffed in 2 shirts, a pair of jeans, his toothbrush. His hands were shaking too hard to zip it closed. Silas watched from the doorway, arms crossed, face blank. Rowan walked past him, out the door, down the hallway. He didn't look back. Not because he was strong. Because he couldn't breathe. The cold air hit him like a fist. Rowan stood on the sidewalk, backpack slung over one shoulder, jacket clutched in his hands. He had $12 in his wallet. A bus pass that expired in 2 days. And a life growing inside him that Silas Crow had just decided didn't matter. Rowan walked. He didn't know where he was going. He didn't care. He just walked until his legs gave out and he collapsed on a bench outside a 24-hour laundromat. And for the first time in years, Rowan cried. Not because Silas left him. Because Rowan had believed him. Had believed someone could love him. Had believed he deserved it. 3 years later, Rowan would throw himself over a stranger's child without hesitation. 3 years later, Rowan would collapse in the arms of a man who would learn Silas Crow's name. 3 years later, Silas Crow would see Rowan's face on the news. And realize he had made the worst mistake of his life. Have you ever loved someone who made you feel worthless the moment you needed them most? Rowan woke to silence. Not the kind that came from peace, the kind that came from too much money and too much control. His eyes opened slowly, white ceiling, soft sheets, the smell of antiseptic and fresh flowers. He wasn't in a hospital room. He was in a suite. Rowan's hand moved instinctively to his stomach, still round, still there. He exhaled. The baby was okay. He tried to sit up, pain shot through his shoulders and back. He hissed without sound. Don't. Rowan's head snapped toward the voice. A man sat in the corner, dark suit, arms crossed, jaw tight. The same man who caught him when he fell. Rowan's breath caught. The man stood slowly, walked closer, stopped at the foot of the bed. You've been out for 6 hours, the man said. His voice was low, controlled. The doctor says you'll be fine, so will the baby. Rowan's hands moved. Who are you? The man's eyes flicked to Rowan's hands. He didn't understand. Rowan reached for the notepad on the side table. His fingers shook as he wrote. Who are you? The man read it, his jaw tightened. Cassian Blackthorne. Rowan's hand froze mid-word. He knew that name. Everyone knew that name. Blackthorne Industries, East Coast operations, ties to politics, construction, shipping. And rumors. The kind of rumors people didn't say out loud. Rowan's pulse spiked. Cassian's eyes softened just slightly. My son's name is Luca. You saved his life. Rowan looked down at his hands. Cassian pulled a chair closer, sat down, leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I need to know your name. Rowan hesitated, then wrote Rowan Hale. Cassian stared at the notepad for a long moment. Rowan, he repeated, his voice was quieter now. You live in your car. Rowan's stomach twisted, he nodded. You work volunteer shifts because they feed you. Another nod. Cassian's jaw locked. He looked away briefly like he was deciding something. When he looked back, his eyes were harder. The father of your baby, Cassian said slowly. His name is Silas Crow. Rowan's blood went cold. He didn't ask how Cassian knew. Men like Cassian Blackthorne always knew. Cassian leaned back, his voice dropped. I know him. Rowan's chest tightened. He's a coward, Cassian said, and when I'm done, he'll wish he never met you. Rowan's hands moved fast. No, please, I don't want trouble. It's not about what you want anymore. Cassian's voice didn't rise, it didn't need to. He left you pregnant, alone, living in a car. That's not trouble, that's a crime. Rowan shook his head, wrote faster. He'll come after me, he said. No one would believe me. Cassian's eyes locked on Rowan. He's right, Cassian said. No one would believe you. Rowan's heart sank. But they'll believe me. Rowan stared. Cassian stood, buttoned his jacket. You're staying here until you're healed. Luca wants to see you, and when you're ready, we'll talk about what happens next. Rowan's hands shook as he wrote, Why are you helping me? Cassian looked at him for a long moment. Because you didn't run, he said quietly, and because my son is alive because of you. He walked to the door, paused. Get some rest, Rowan. The door closed behind him. Rowan sat alone in the too-quiet room, staring at the notepad in his lap. Cassian Blackthorne knew Sila's crow. And Silas had no idea what was coming. Would you trust a man with a dangerous reputation if he was the only one willing to fight for you? Silas Crow scrolled through his phone while his coffee went cold. Monday morning, another board meeting in an hour, another day of pretending he gave a damn about quarterly projections. His thumb paused mid-scroll. A video was trending. The thumbnail showed a ballroom, shattered glass, people running. The headline read, Unknown Omega Hero Saves Blackthorne Heir. Silas frowned, clicked play. The footage was shaky, someone's phone camera, the audio was chaos, screaming, crashing, then the camera focused. A figure on the ground. Thin, pregnant, arms wrapped around a small red-haired boy. Sila's coffee mug slipped from his hand. It hit the desk, shattered. He didn't notice. He leaned closer to the screen. The Omega's face turned toward the camera for just a second, pale, blood-streaked, familiar. Too familiar. Sila's chest tightened. No. He replayed the video. Watch the Omega throw himself over the child. Watch the glass fall. Watch Cassian Blackthorne run to them. Silas paused the video, zoomed in. The Omega's face filled the screen. Rowan. Sila's pulse roared in his ears. He opened a new tab, searched Rowan's name. Nothing. He searched Blackthorne Gala Omega. More videos, news articles, social media posts. Everyone was calling Rowan a hero. Sila's hands shook. He clicked another article. Blackthorne family thanks mysterious Omega, offers reward for information. Sila's stomach dropped. He scrolled further. Comments flooded every post. Who is he? Someone find him. He deserves everything. Silas slammed his laptop shut. He stood, paced to the window, stared out at the city. Rowan was supposed to disappear. He was supposed to stay gone. But now Cassian Blackthorne knew his face. And if Cassian started digging. Sila's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk, CB. Sila's vision blurred. Cassian Blackthorne. He typed back fast, about what? The reply came in seconds. Rowan Hale. Sila's phone slipped from his hand. He stared at it on the floor, screen cracked, message still glowing. Cassian knew. Silas grabbed his coat, his keys, didn't think, just moved. He had to get ahead of this. Had to control the narrative. Had to make sure Rowan stayed quiet. But when Silas reached his car, another text came through. This one from his assistant. 3 of our investors just pulled out, no explanation. Sila's hands froze on the steering wheel. He opened his banking app. 2 accounts were frozen. His credit line canceled. His business partnerships, emails rescinding contracts filled his inbox. Everything was falling apart. In less than an hour. Sila's breathing quickened. He called his lawyer. Voicemail. He called his accountant. Voicemail. He called his oldest business partner. The line connected. Silas, the man said, his voice was cold, don't call me again. The line went dead. Silas sat in his car, engine off, hands gripping the wheel. Cassian Blackthorne hadn't said a word. Hadn't made a public accusation. Hadn't needed to. Men like Cassian didn't threaten. They erased. And Silas was being erased. What would you do if your past caught up to you, and the man hunting you controlled everything? Rowan didn't want to leave the bed. Not because he was in pain, the cuts were healing, the bruises fatting. He didn't want to leave because leaving meant facing what came next. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. The door opened. Luca peeked inside. Can I come in? He asked quietly. Rowan nodded. Luca stepped in. He carried a stuffed bear under one arm, his other hand held a piece of paper. He climbed onto the chair beside Rowan's bed, set the bear on the blanket. This is Mr. Buttons, Luca said. He helps when I'm scared. Rowan's throat tightened. Luca held out the paper. I made you this. Rowan took it carefully. It was a drawing. 2 stick figures, one big, one small, holding hands, a rainbow overhead. The word thank you was written in uneven letters across the top. Rowan's eyes burned. Luca watched him nervously. Do you like it? Rowan nodded, his hands moved. I love it. Luca frowned. I don't know what that means. Rowan grabbed the notepad, wrote I love it, thank you. Luca's face lit up. He climbed off the chair, walked closer, looked at Rowan's hands. Can you teach me? Luca asked. Rowan blinked. Sign language, Luca clarified, so I can talk to you. Rowan's chest cracked open. He nodded. Luca smiled, climbed back onto the chair. Rowan showed him the sign for thank you. Luca copied it, his hands were clumsy, too big but earnest. He signed it again and again. Did I do it right? Luca asked. Rowan nodded, signed asterisk yes. Luca grinned. The door opened again. Cassian stood in the doorway, he watched them for a moment, expression unreadable. Luca, Cassian said quietly, let Rowan rest. But we're learning, Luca protested. Later, Cassian's tone left no room for argument. Luca sighed, climbed off the chair, looked back at Rowan. You'll stay, right? Luca asked. Rowan's hands stilled. Luca's eyes filled with something fragile. Please. Rowan looked at Cassian. Cassian's gaze didn't waver. Rowan looked back at Luca, signed slowly, I'll stay. Luca signed asterisk thank you again, clumsy but determined. Then he left. Cassian lingered. He's never asked anyone to stay before, Cassian said quietly. Rowan didn't know what to say. Cassian stepped closer, sat in the chair Luca had just vacated. I need to tell you something, Cassian said. Rowan's pulse quickened. Silas Crow is losing everything, his business, his reputation, his money. Rowan's eyes widened. I didn't have to do anything, Cassian continued. Just had a few conversations, made a few calls, people listen when I talk. Rowan grabbed the notepad, wrote fast, why? Cassian leaned forward, his voice was low, dangerous. Because he hurt you, and no one hurts someone under my protection. I'm not under your protection. You are now. Rowan's hands shook. I don't want revenge, I just want to be left alone. Cassian's jaw tightened. He won't leave you alone, men like him don't, they come back, they threaten, they take. Rowan looked away. Cassian's voice softened. You don't have to be alone anymore, Rowan. Rowan's chest ached. Cassian stood, walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. Luca asked me if you could stay with us, Cassian said. After you're healed, after the baby comes. Rowan's breath caught. I'm asking too, Cassian added. Rowan stared at him. Cassian's expression was steady, serious. You don't owe me an answer now, Cassian said, but think about it. He left. Rowan sat alone in the quiet room, Luca's drawing in his lap, Mr. Buttons beside him. For the first time in 3 years, Rowan wasn't scared. He was terrified. Because hope was more dangerous than survival. And Cassian Blackthorne was offering him both. Would you risk trusting again if it meant giving someone the power to destroy you? Cassian didn't make threats. He made promises. And the promise he made about Silas Crow was almost complete. Cassian sat in his office, city lights stretched below, phone on the desk, silent. His assistant knocked once, entered. Everything's in place, she said. Cassian nodded, send it. She left. Cassian opened his laptop, pulled up a file. Silas Crow's entire history. Bank records, business deals, emails, text messages. In one recorded phone call. Silas begging a doctor to forge medical records, trying to claim Rowan had lied about the pregnancy. Cassian had paid the doctor more to say no. And to testify. Cassian closed the laptop. Silas would be charged by morning, fraud, coercion, abandonment of a dependent Omega. The case was airtight. And Cassian had made sure every major outlet would cover it. Silas Crow would be infamous by the weekend. But Cassian wasn't satisfied. He stood, walked to the window, stared out at the city. Destroying Silas wasn't enough. Cassian wanted him to understand. Wanted him to feel what Rowan felt. Alone, powerless, forgotten. Cassian pulled out his phone, typed a message. You should have been kinder. He sent it to Silas. No name, no explanation. Just the truth. Across the city, Silas sat in his apartment, lights off, phone in his hand. The message came through. Silas read it. And for the first time in his life, he was afraid. What would you do if the villain finally realized he'd lost, but it was already too late? Rowan held his son for the first time on a Wednesday. 6 pounds 3 ounces, perfect. The baby didn't cry when the nurse placed him in Rowan's arms, just blinked up at him with dark, curious eyes. Rowan's hands shook. He looked down at the tiny face, the small fingers, the chest rising and falling. He'd done it. He survived. The door opened quietly. Luca peeked in first, eyes wide. "Can I see?" he whispered. Rowan nodded. Luca tiptoed closer, stared at the baby. "He's so small," Luca breathed. Cassian followed, stopped at the foot of the bed, his expression was soft. Luca climbed onto the chair, signed hello asterisk to the baby. The baby blinked. Luca grinned, looked at Rowan. "What's his name?" Rowan's hands moved slowly. "Elijah." "Elijah," Luca repeated. He looked at Cassian. "Dad, can he stay with us?" Cassian's eyes met Rowan. Rowan's breath caught. Cassian didn't answer Luca. He answered Rowan. "If you'll have us," Cassian said quietly. Rowan's chest tightened. He looked at Luca, at Elijah, at Cassian. 3 months ago Rowan had nothing. No home, no family, no hope. And now? Rowan's hands moved. "Yes." Luca cheered. Cassian exhaled, his shoulders dropped, relief washed over his face. He walked closer, sat on the edge of the bed, looked at Elijah. "Welcome home," Cassian said softly. Rowan's eyes burned. Home. The word didn't scare him anymore. Across the city the news broke. Silas Crow arrested, charges filed, evidence released. His name became a warning. And Rowan never looked back. Not because Silas didn't matter. Because Rowan finally had something Silas could never take. A family who chose him. A son who needed him. And a man who promised, without words, without demands, that Rowan would never be alone again. Sometimes survival isn't loud. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone catch you when you fall. And sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back. Thank you for watching.